It's here right now. In the corner. What is that? Deception! Deception!
Ah, yes, we're paranormal investigators. We've been asked to come and investigate the mysterious woman in the hat.
South Park crushed Melania Trump's movie from the first frame, leaving the theater in stunned silence, ladies and gentlemen. In just 90 seconds, the insane emptiness of the film hit like a punch, demanding respect but giving nothing in return. Every glance, every line screams lifelessness, kind of like you're watching a gold-plated corpse pretending to breathe. The episode does not ease you in. It does not joke. It does not wink or even soften the blow. It opens like a warning sign. The screen is cold, the music is slow, and it's pretty heavy. Cameras flash, but no one smiles.
Ever since I tore down the East Wing, there's this thing that keeps appearing.
South Park begins at a red carpet premiere that feels more like a funeral rather than a celebration. Announcers call the movie historic, they call it elegant, and they even think that it's untouchable. Each word lands like a command instead of praise. Inside the theater, the town sits frozen, just silence that is so thick it feels aggressive. For a show built on chaos, this quiet is pretty terrifying. South Park wants you uncomfortable before it wants you to be amused.
Restless spirit! We only wish to communicate!
The film plays straight. It's painfully straight. Long cinematic shots stretch on for too long. Lighting is soft and expensive. Every frame looks polished, controlled, and also approved. Characters speak slowly, carefully, like they are afraid of sounding too much like a human. Every line feels sanitized, drained of risk or mess. It feels less like a movie and more like a brand presentation posing as art. And that is what makes it all so disturbing. South Park does not attack immediately. It lets the emptiness breathe.
That by demolishing the East Wing, we may have unleashed some sort of wrath.
Romantic scenes arrive, and they are haunting in the worst way possible. Two people stand close, say the right things, and never ever connect. There is no spark, no warmth, no vulnerability. It feels contractual, like an image agreement rather than any ounce of love. When the movie tries to inspire, it leans on vague slogans instead of emotion. Strength, grace, destiny, words meant to sound powerful, but they float with no weight. The town waits to feel something, anything, but nothing just comes.
The Trump faces are just so good.
It's so good. It's genius to make the White House remodel about a fight over the nursery versus a ballroom.
The silence grows heavier, not from boredom, but from confusion and discomfort. People are trying to understand what they are supposed to feel about this. The movie insists that it matters, but it never actually explains why. Then Stan finally breaks the spell. Quietly, brutally, he asks why it feels like nobody in this movie actually wants to be there. The question hits like a punch to the gut. The illusion collapses instantly. Faces freeze mid-smile. Applause loop on the screen without anyone actually clapping. Scenes repeat themselves with slightly different angles, like the movie is stuck pretending to move forward. South Park does not exaggerate. It observes, it dissects, and it lets the discomfort rot in the open.
Won't you come in?
The town begins asking questions that the movie just cannot answer. What is the story? Who is all of this for? Why does it demand respect without earning any connection? The film responds by doubling down on importance. It insists that it is meaningful. It insists that it is deep. But depth just never appears. That's when the satire just begins to sharpen. South Park is not mocking failure, it's attacking emptiness. Failure at least tries, emptiness just exists and expects applause.
The demolition of the East Wing might have unleashed some sort of evil spirit or paranormal activity into the White House. So after the meeting, we see J.D. Vance calling Peter Thiel, telling them like they're onto our plan, and we see that Thiel has Cartman sedated in a hotel room outside DC for some reason, but like we don't really get a lot of clarity on that.
Cartman understands immediately. To him, the movie is not art. It is a brand case study. He calls it emotionally optimized, but spiritually vacant. And for once, he is totally right. He launches a fake awards campaign overnight. Gold stickers, buzzwords, legacy, masterpiece, cultural movement. None of it is real, but all of it kind of works in this context. People line up because they are told that this actually matters.
All the exterior doors are locked. No windows have been breached.
And yet the president swears something was in the room with him.
Cartman starts selling merchandise completely unrelated to the movie, and what do you think happens? Well, it sells out. Posters, hats, stickers. The image is stronger than the content, and South Park makes that point brutally clear. The hype grows louder than the film itself. His parody screenings get more attention than the official premiere. The joke cuts pretty deep because it feels real. It feels like we've seen this before.
Please welcome Mr. Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist. Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist.
What makes this episode hit harder than usual is its restraint. South Park usually attacks with noise and chaos. Here, it attacks with patience, with silence, with discomfort. The movie keeps asking for reverence while offering nothing human in return. That demand becomes hostile when the town finally turns against it. It feels earned.
What kind of wrath?
Vengeful wrath.
This is not really about Melania or even the movie. The film itself is almost irrelevant. What the episode is dissecting is a culture, a system, an entire machinery built to dress up emptiness as importance. It is about image culture, the kind where style and presentation are pretty much everything, and substance is optional. About how power shields hollowness, turning a lack of depth into a symbol of untouchable prestige. About how distance, aloofness, and stiffness get sold as elegance. How silence and absence gets packaged as mystery, sophistication, and superiority. South Park strips all of that away with merciless clarity, showing that the glitter, the polish, and the applause are just veneers hiding nothing.
This is the first time we've seen Melania, right?
That's the first time we've seen Melania. Yeah.
Okay.
That's so far, she's sort of like a ghoulish, just a linker.
Every enforced smile, every slow, measured gesture, every line delivered with calculated poise is exposed as empty ritual. The episode refuses to let the illusion persist, even if only for a moment. When the clapping stops, the movie's entire structure collapses. There is no recovery, no rescue, no fallback. The audience realizes that the charade is complete, brutal, and permanent. The emptiness does not whisper, it screams at you, and South Park forces you to hear it. Then Randy steps in, and everything just begins to break open.
Oh, deception! Deception!
Buff, maybe we should stop this.
Randy does not critique the movie, he copies it, or more accurately, he actually copies what it actually is. He recreates the biggest scene in his garage using stiff mannequins, a cheap fog machine, and lighting that takes itself way too seriously. The mannequins barely move, they barely speak, and somehow that honesty makes it even better. Randy strips the dialogue down to buzzwords: strength, legacy, grace. He repeats them slowly as fog fills the room like it's searching for meaning. The town erupts with laughter, not because of the fact that it's silly, but because it it finally tells the truth. The parody admits the emptiness that the movie tried to hide. The laughter is loud, it's messy, and it's real. Something that the original film never earned. Randy's version does not pretend to be deep, it admits that it is hollow. That honesty, that level of pure honesty hits harder than polish ever could. People line up for Randy's screening. They bring friends. They talk during it. They react. They feel something. The parody gains more energy and more attention than the movie it mocked. That is the quiet execution. Once people see the truth, they cannot unsee it.
That thing! It's not there anymore!
The episode shifts tone here. The jokes slow down, the smiles fade, South Park stops chasing cheap laughs and starts pointing sharp, unflinching fingers. The movie becomes more than a film. It becomes a symbol of everything that power can protect. Elegance polished to a blinding sheen, distance sold as dignity, and silence packaged as depth. Vulnerability is entirely absent. And the show makes it brutally clear that this absence is not accidental. This is not our daring to speak truth. It is our deliberately refusing to.
I read somewhere that Melania might be a parody of The Conjuring or The Ring or some other Japanese horror movie. I wouldn't know because I cannot watch those things.
No, that's a little Hitchcock, I guess. But
Yeah,
the shower,
that's right. You're in the shower.
So I've heard. Again, I don't watch those either.
Every line, every gesture, every pause feels measured, controlled, designed to project importance while hiding emptiness. The lack of openness is not a flaw. It is the feature. It is the calculated void, a vacuum demanding respect without offering connection. South Park exposes it with surgical precision, forcing the audience to stare into the hollow core of performance masquerading as substance. Fame here is not talent or connection, it is insulation. The movie floats above criticism not because it deserves admiration, but because it is shielded by status, by privilege, and by unspoken hierarchy that turns questioners into targets. Every frame is protected by invisible walls. Every word is defended as if it were sacred sculpture. Characters openly declare that you are not allowed to dislike it without being labeled cruel, shallow, and uninformed. Disagreement is treated not as a difference of opinion, but as a moral failure, a personal defect, a betrayal. The audience is trapped between obedience and shame, caught in a system that rewards deference and punishes curiosity. South Park exposes the pressure with surgical precision, dissecting the invisible rules that control taste, judgment, and respect. It shows how culture policies opinion when power is involved, how applause can be demanded rather than earned, and how status can disguise emptiness as genius. The episode makes it painfully clear. This is not about enjoyment. It's about survival, about navigating an ecosystem where questioning the powerful is framed as a sin. Then comes the most brutal moment of the entire episode. No joke, no insult. Mid-scene, the town shuts the movie off. The screen cuts to static, the sound dies, people stand up and leave. They are not angry, they're not offended, they are bored. And boredom in this context is pure annihilation. By the end, the message is clear. This was never about one movie. It was about image culture, about applause given out of habit, about reverence replacing connection, about stories engineered to look important instead of feel human. South Park pulls the curtain back and walks away without apologizing. And that final silence is the loudest part of all.